Nancy, you sat down with Donald Trump for the better part of 90 minutes in advance of this convention. The headline, the takeaway here, knowing that this took place before the events of last weekend. Give us a sense of his demeanor and what he was interested in when he sat down.
So I sat down with him and a few of my colleagues from Businessweek at Mar-a-Lago. We were there for about 90 minutes. We got 90 minutes with him. And we had a very wide-ranging conversation about the business, the U.S. economy. We talked about Taiwan, Russia, his legal cases. This was before the shooting and 2 days before the debate, just to give you a sense of his mindset. But he was in a great mood. He had just come back from a Louisiana fundraiser. The fundraising numbers were starting to pick up much faster than they had anticipated. The polling was showing him doing really well and starting to expand the map. And so he was in a great mood. And that was even before the debate 2 days later.
It's pretty incredible stuff that's in this article that everyone should read. You can find it on the terminal now and online. The idea on foreign policy is we all get ready to hear Nikki Haley speak this evening, who focused so much of her primary campaign on foreign policy, that Trump suggested to you that the U.S. may not actually have a duty to defend Taiwan, that Taiwan maybe should actually pay the United States for protection. What should we make of that?
I thought it was a remarkable moment in the interview. We ended up asking, a lot of economic questions about sanctions against Russia, and we asked about Taiwan sort of as a throwaway question. And he basically came out and said, what has Taiwan done for us? We have been Taiwan's insurance policy for years. They stole our chips business. I'm just not sure it makes sense for us to, keep defending them when China wants them so badly. It was a really remarkable moment.
So let's bring in Brad Stone, editor of Bloomberg Businessweek, now for more. Brad, this is an encyclopedia of a story in some ways. If you want to get a better sense of what Donald Trump is thinking about policy in his second term, how hard was it to narrow down what to focus on?
Well, thanks, Kaylee. For us, it was easy because Businessweek readers are interested in business, no surprise, and the economy and the U.S.'s role in the world. And so that's the approach we took with the former president and the Trump campaign. And we really went to ask him about a plan that, at least in the estimation of many economists, is sort of unorthodox, right? His prescription for what he sees as an economy that's growing too slowly and inflation that is too high is higher tariffs, which a lot of economists think will be passed on to consumers in the form of higher prices, in addition to a lower corporate tax rate, changing the U.S.'s relationship with some of its foreign allies, less regulation, more domestic oil drilling. Those are the questions that we asked him.
Fascinating read here, Brad. We learned a lot, but it's an interesting scenario because everybody already knows Donald Trump. You referred to Trumponomics, which is something I guess will play against Bidenomics here. What would be different in a Trump 2.0 since we've already lived through Donald Trump as president?
Yeah, that's a great question, Joe, and we did ask him that, and one of the responses that he gave was, of course, that he's more experienced, and he really brought that to the realm of who he would appoint, who he would surround himself with. He said that he knows everyone now, that the first time around he appointed some people who he ultimately didn't agree with, as we know. And so he really seems prepared to do that differently, to surround himself more with loyalists, people who see the world in the same way he does, clearly reflected in the choice of his vice presidential pick, J.D. Vance. And, we talked to him. We asked him a couple of times what Trumponomics meant. The first time around when we asked him, he really focused on the strength of the U.S. dollar. He talked about electric vehicles. At the end, we came back to it, and we asked him again, and the answer was a little crisper. He said low taxes, a lower inflation, lower interest rates, and more prosperity for the U.S.